What's going on, everybody? This is Jason Creel. You are on the Lawn Care Life live stream, whether you're watching live or on replay. I definitely appreciate you joining the show. And what we do on here, if you're new, we take questions and answers is primarily what we do. Sometimes I have guests involved in the show, and it's just going to be me tonight. And what I've normally done, I've been doing this like Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Today I had a scheduling conflict, so we moved it to 6 o'clock Central Time, which is my time zone. And we just take the question and answers. And a lot of times, it may revolve around your business, may revolve around your own yard, what's going on in the yard. And in the spring and summer, I was doing this more regular. Like I might get back to weekly or bi-weekly shows in the spring or summer. But for now, we're just doing it. I've been doing it like once a month. So anyway, but we are, if you've got questions, go ahead and post those. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Christmas, we caught the coronavirus over Christmas, my family, so it kind of altered some of our plans. And we had to, I think we just finished up all our Christmas celebrations yesterday because of delayed things because of having that. But fortunately for us, the symptoms were not bad at all. All right, let's see what we got here. Molecular scientist tells us Happy New Year. Azteca says okay to that. Happy New Year to all, and love the video. Started on my own last year. Thanks for all the help. No problem, Chris. Hope it's going well. And Jackie says Happy New Year. So anyway, I was supposed to, I'm waiting on some questions here, but I was supposed to start spraying today. And believe it or not, I live in Alabama, and we got snow last night. Woke up and there's maybe 2 inches of snow on the ground, and it was cold. And they were saying the high was like 41 or something, but I think it made it to like 35. And of course, I go out to crank my truck about 11 o'clock. I was going to brave the elements and try to get out there and do something because I've been off. I haven't been doing any yard since the day before Thanksgiving. I've been off for over a month. And I was been prepping and ready for today, and of course, the weather's terrible. I'm going to get out there about 11 o'clock, start spraying some yards. The snow was melting. My truck battery was dead. So I had to take the truck battery in and get a new truck battery. And I knew it was getting weak, but it was, anyway, so I thought, whatever, it's just, we just had to go for tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be low 50s, which would be much more favorable conditions. So on the lawn, like right now, I'll tell you what I've been doing lately for my business and what I'm doing on the lawns. For business, I have been making a huge push. I've got about 300 customers. Okay. I downsized my business a couple years ago, shrunk it down to where I could handle it solo, doing weed control and fertilization. And I'm at around 300 and could take on a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. Well, I went up on prices this year. Trying to get everybody switched over to credit card on file or prepay for the year with a 5% discount. And that has been a job. Let me tell you. I think it's not too bad getting people signed up with credit card on file, but if you've been doing it a certain way and you try to switch them over, that becomes more of a pain. And so I have typically emailed invoices out at the end of the day. I email everybody an invoice for that particular day, and they would eventually pay. The problem with that was I got frustrated with the same people being late almost every single time. So I thought, man, I'm just tired of it. I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I'm trying to get them credit card on file or prepay, and had about 20% of my customers prepay, which was awesome. A bunch of them on file. The ones that are not on file, if they were a good customer and paid on time, I'm probably not going to enforce it that much. I'm like, okay, they pay on time. I'm not going to get all worked up over it. I don't want to lose a good customer. But the handful that are late continually, and I have to constantly be texting them, and I think if they don't want to go credit card on file or prepay, then I think I'm just going to drop them, move on, because I'm thinking I can add more customers this spring and replace them with somebody who's going to pay on time and not somebody who's late. So that's what I've been doing. As far as the yard goes, Saturday was like 75 degrees here. So I thought, well, this would be a good day for me to go ahead and mix up my chemicals in my spray tank. So that's what I did. I decided to mix up the chemicals, and because it was warm weather. So I'm putting out prodiamine, atrazine, triplet, which is like a 3-way product, and then put surfactant in there. And that's what I'm spraying on my Bermuda zoysia yards. My centipede St. Augustine, I'm using a low rate of prodiamine and the atrazine and the surfactant, and that's pretty much it on those. So just ready to get them out there because, you know, the way it is here, if we get a warm February, the crabgrass will start germinating in February. So I really, the clock's ticking. I need to get all my yards sprayed before, you know, mid to late February to make it happen. All right, let's take some questions. I want to also thank Yardbook. Sometimes I wear my Yardbook shirt, but Yardbook is a regular sponsor on the channel. And if you're starting a business and you're not doesn't have a software, I ask you consider Yardbook. Go to yardbook.com, sign up for an account. I've been using Yardbook since 2015, and I really like how easy it is to function. So, all right, Kevin, best advice for solo lawn care going in the 3rd year. All right, Kevin. Like I said, I shrunk back to solo, and here's what I keep telling myself: I'm almost at max capacity. Okay, and if you're going to your 3rd year, potentially you might be close to max capacity. And so, if you're at max capacity, at some point you're going to have to start turning down business. And so I got to tell myself, I'm just telling you what I'm telling myself. Like, why would I turn down a potentially great customer to hang on to this loser customer? So that's when I'm trying to get them on my payment system, my terms. You know, I shared a story the other day on YouTube. I just broke up with a HOA neighborhood entrance way, I guess you'd say. And it was my initiation. I wanted them to be on 7 treatments like everybody else, just about everybody else I'm doing. They wanted to stay on 6. And I just said, you know, it was kind of underpriced anyway, definitely underpriced. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to. So I just told them, recommend they go with somebody else. And so, Kevin, I would say if you're getting close to capacity, evaluate your customers and say, what is there some I need to get them on my terms? Meaning I'm going to raise their price. If they pay late, I'm going to get them to prepay or card on file, or they're too far out of the way, and try to, you have a limited capacity. That's all you can handle. And try to make 100% of those great customers and not keep catering to some that are not great. And if they don't want to come over, then drop them and replace them this spring with somebody better. And that might mean that they're bi-weekly and you want to be weekly. You say, listen, in 2022, we're going to weekly only. And if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. And that's okay. It's okay to lose them. All right. Thank you for your expertise. No problem. Happy New Year. Your last video with Funny Saying was the best. Make sure to mention it again. Yeah, I did a video. If you want to search for it, it's stereotypes. You can type in lawn care stereotypes or something like that. It should come up. But it's basically making fun of all the different stereotypes to see. Like, you got the guy who the super equipment guy. He goes out there to mow 4 yards and he carries 6 mowers and 5 people and all that. You know, he's got way too much equipment. Or you got a guy who just is in a lawn business so he can buy equipment. So I did one where, hey, the guy picks up 1 bag in yard. So he said, I got to go buy a $12,000 bag and mower because I got this 1 bag in yard. You know, it's like, dude, are you just doing this to buy more equipment? I got you cash under the mat guys. Like, all my money's under the mat, you know. You got meticulous maintenance guy who wants to check his air pressure and his tires every day and who's checking his oil every day. And then you got the opposite extreme. You got the guy who doesn't change his oil ever and just runs things forever. You got one, you know, what about the guy who doesn't, it's never too wet to mow. It actually poured down rain in my house while I was doing the video. So we had a huge puddle and I just ran through mud puddles, and it was the never mowing guy, you know, never too wet to mow. So anyway, I had fun making it, and I might actually do another one. I've got another one in mind that might be similar. So we'll see. It was a good time. Let's see. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys. I want to start a landscaping company, but can't quit my full-time job. I currently work 6 days a week, long hours. What's the best way to build up enough to quit without stretching myself too thin? It's going to be hard working 6 days a week, long hours. I mean, and honestly, if you hire somebody, I mean, it's like, are you really going to make any money? I try to kind of swing people toward the weed control side because I think it's more profitable. So even if you were able to squeak out, 5 to 10 hours a week doing weed control, you make more money than 5 to 10 hours mowing. Now, but like if you're really trying to get out of your job and get something up and going quick, it's easier and faster to get a mowing business up and running than it is a weed control business because you can have far less customers. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's really an easy answer for you, to be honest with you, working all that time. I mean, if you work 6 days a week, I don't know. I personally would not work 7 days a week. I wouldn't. I'd take, we take Sundays off. We just don't work on Sundays. But if you don't have time, it's going to be nearly impossible. Video you made about stereotypes was very funny. Appreciate that. Glad y'all enjoyed it. Are you charging sales tax on your invoices? I didn't last year and want to next year. Raise rates, might get my butt kicked for that. No, I'm no accountant, but I don't think on a service business you have to charge sales tax. I would recommend instead of putting tax on there, just raise your prices, whatever you want to. But I wouldn't show it as a tax because you're going to be about the only lawn business in town that's charging tax. Now, if you're selling products, physical products, obviously you got to charge sales tax. But on a service, you don't have to. My lawn's covered in clover. How can I get it back to real grass? St. Augustine, Kentucky Blue. I live in California, trying to take care of my mama's lawn. Well, I'm going to be more familiar with St. Augustine or than I would be Kentucky bluegrass because I deal with warm season grasses. But clover, I mean, you can use metsulfuron, which is super duper cheap. I don't know the product label MSM turf or something like that. Really cheap and will knock out clover. Sometimes clover too, it just kind of dies down when the weather starts getting hot. But Change Up is another product we use. If you search how to kill clover in the lawn and put Lawn Care Life on there on YouTube or something, I know I've got 1 or 2 clover videos that compares multiple products. Again, those are on warm season grasses. So I'm not going to be as much help on the Kentucky bluegrass, but somebody else can chime in and tell us, recommend a clover product on Kentucky bluegrass. I'm not sure what that even means, but that's all right. Hey, Jason, long time no see. I recognize Eric's name and his image there that he uses. What's the word from Al Blaze? Al, I've seen Al on YouTube mowing tall grass and things. Thanks, Al, for chiming in. Omega Lawn Care. Hey, Jason, how did you feel White F-250 handled the 400-gallon sprayer, B&B rack, and lean to steer? Would you recommend it for a single axle truck like yours? I don't have that truck anymore. So on a F-250 that's like single axle or just single rear wheels, I would probably go with a 300-gallon. You have to check your weight limits on the side of your what is it called, GVW or something like that. So how much weight, it should be on the inside of your door on the driver's side. It'll show you the legal weight limit for that particular truck. So, I mean, it's either legal or it's not. And, a gallon of water is around 8 pounds. So 400 gallons is over 3,000 pounds. So that's a lot of weight, plus the weight of the tank and the rack and all that. So I now have an F-350 with dual rear wheels, which has a significantly higher GVW than the F-250 I had before. And so now I have a 400-gallon tank on there, and it's no problem at all. It's not so much would the other truck hold 400 gallons. I don't have much doubt that it would, but if it's not legal, then you might get in trouble, especially if you had an accident or something. You have to in Texas. All right. He's saying in Texas, you have to charge sales tax on a service business. That's news to me. I wasn't familiar with All right. Thoughts on the world lawn equipment. I have, I know I'm familiar with world lawn equipment. I can't say I've ever been on one. I know their pricing is quite low on a lot of things. Maybe they've raised it. I remember when I first started seeing it was probably almost say 12 years ago or so, and it was significantly cheaper. I can't say I've heard anything positive or negative about it, but it's certainly not one that I see a lot of people running. So, if it was me, I'd probably go with a more tried and true brand. But again, I'm not saying that from experience. I don't necessarily have anything against it. I just don't know. Escalade 2 for clover on the Kentucky Blue. There you go. The lady that was asking earlier about, appreciate that, Todd, products to use on the Kentucky Bluegrass for clover. He's recommending Escalade 2. Now, I forget what our name was, Kristen. Sometimes, we recommended people. It's like professional lawn care people on here a lot of times. So they're going to recommend something that you're not going to go buy at Home Depot. But it's not. Most of it is not illegal to buy now. California obviously has got some rules that we don't have in the rest of the country. So who knows about that? But most of these things you can order online. You have to just read and understand the label, mix it accordingly, and spray the weeds. And if it says put 1 ounce in there per gallon of water, don't think, well, 3 ounces will be even better. Just go by the label. If it gives you a rate, a low, a mid, and a high, I would say shoot for the mid rate and spray it lightly. You don't have to drown the weeds. You don't have to double the rate or anything like that. These things work. But typically in the wintertime, your herbicides are going to work slower. The plants are not growing very much. They're going to be a lot slower to take in the herbicide, and the results are slower, but it doesn't mean that it's not working. When someone new agrees to sign up for service, mowing, do you give them a folder with info or any type of handout? Beth, I think that's a great idea. I created some documents for this is not for mowing, but for weed control fertilization. But I think it's great for mowing or weed control. Whether you hand it to them, you email it to them, you text it to them, whatever. I created some documents to basically answer a lot of the common questions. So, and I think these are on, I sell stuff on lawncarelife.com. So in the document, weed control fertilization documents package, this comes with it. But I deal with Bermuda, zoysia, centipede, and St. Augustine grasses. So I did a document for each of those 4 types of grasses. And it answers questions like about mowing, about watering recommendations, common weeds or problems you might have with that grass. Just because I get the same questions all the time. And I thought, well, if I can answer them in a document. Now, here's the problem. I haven't been using those. So people sign up. I don't actually give them the document. I probably need to just have a better habit of, I get their email address when I sign them up and email them that document. Say, hey, this is some common, even putting stuff in there about, your contact info, pets, billing, just anything that might come up in a document form, I think is very professional. And that's actually a great reminder for me, something I need to start doing a better job of. All right, Mary, do you hear much about women-owned and operated lawn care businesses? Hubby and I would like to launch this spring, but I'd be the front man. I understand. Well, there's definitely some. I had a lady that was in my area that she had a big, like full scale, high end going after the big rich houses, and she was doing great. And she would sub out some of the spraying to me. It seemed like she had everything operating great. On YouTube, you got the Spencers, Sean and Savannah Spencer, and they work together, husband and wife. I have a couple. If you look on my YouTube channel, you go to Lawn Care Life or type in husband and wife, Lawn Care Life or something, you'll find I did 2 interviews with a husband and wife that just started this past year that live locally. And one at the beginning of the year when they just had started, and one at the end of the year when they had kind of finishing up their first year. They work hand in hand. So, there's, I don't see any challenges. I don't think most people are going to like look down on you or anything. It's just, whether you perform the work, and people just want great lawn service. I really feel that's going to be the biggest challenge. Can you deliver great lawn service, or hire people that can? And I don't think people are going to care if it's man or woman in that situation. But in my area, I mean, obviously it's a male dominated industry. I look at my YouTube channel and it's like, I don't even know, 89% men or something that what the audience, it's up there. But again, I don't see any reason why you couldn't be successful if you have the skill set, both lawn skills and business skills. What are you doing to help be selective when taking on new customers? All right. Well, I think it's a great question. I think what's happened to me, I talked at the beginning, I don't know if you were on here, but I was trying to get everybody switched over to credit card on file or prepay with a 5% discount. Well, moving forward, I'm going to sign them up that way. Okay. And I actually think that's going to be easier. It's harder to switch somebody when you've been doing it the same way. And Jason, you always emailed it to me. And then when I was late, you always text me a reminder and then I pay, and that's the problem. I don't want to text you a reminder. I just want you to, pay on time. And so I'm tired of texting reminders. So that's one thing. Are you willing to get on my terms? Credit card on file. Here's the program, 7 applications a year. But I think the other thing, Stephen, is I'm really targeting certain types of yards. I don't feel like I get this random yard out in the country and it's like there's nothing wrong with the yard. There's nothing wrong either. It's just I want one that's really close to the ones I already have. And can I get multiple yards in that area? If it's just one yard out there, I'm not doing that. I've also used to, if it didn't matter to me, if it was on a hill, it mattered, but I would take whatever, hillside or flat. They just charge them the same rate based on the square footage. Well, I thought, that doesn't even make sense. Why am I not charging people on a hill more? It's more difficult to do the yard, or with a lot of other challenges, a bunch of landscaping or fences or who knows what else. Well, I'm even now just thinking I might not even take them if they're on a hill. I just don't want to do it if it's on a hill. Other yards I've taken on, like multiple grass types, centipede in the front and Bermuda in the back. It's like you really got to treat those two differently. I only do 6 treatments on centipede yards and 7 on Bermuda, and it's really a lot of different type fertilizer, different type chemicals. So I'm just thinking, if I'm working solo and I can only hold so many yards, why would I punish myself and take on bad ones? So I'm in marketing. I'm not really doing any marketing, but if I am, I'm going to really target. Was going to be these few neighborhoods where I've already got a real strong presence, and they're building hundreds of spec homes. They all look the same, just about. Got one little tree in the front yard. They're flat. That's really what I want. So, all right. What do you think about skag mowers? I think skag mowers are fantastic, and I've owned 1 or 2 of them, and of course their reputation is excellent, and I think they're awesome. All right, this guy, let's just put him on here just so y'all can see what we deal with sometimes. Hi, do you guys sell burgers? I need burgers. I'm not a bot, by the way. I just need burgers. So fortunately, I've got a button over here that helps people like this. And I'm going to use this magic button that says block user. All right. There's, you got your burgers for you there. Route density. Yeah, I'm definitely going over route density. I think, like I tell people that think the lawn bits is profitable. Okay, it is profitable. It's not so profitable I can just drive all over town. That was actually on that stereotype business I did. I put on there 2 I'll mention. One is the guy who said, I pretend like I got a phone call and he wanted me to quote the yard. So I have to drive 35 minutes to go and say, let me drive 35 minutes to go look at your yard. And then I look at it and it's a tiny yard. So I'll do it for $35. Let me drive back, email you the quote. If you agree to it, then I'll drive back out there 35 minutes with me and 3 other people, and we'll mow the yard for $35, and it won't take but 15 minutes. But you don't understand all the driving, all the waste. It's like, and then the other one I want to mention I did on that video, the stereotype video, is the guy who's so hardcore on his minimum charge. And that's why I said, and I had a situation like this based on reality, but a situation where somebody calls you and says, I've got 10 yards all side by side and there's no fences. I just need them mowed. In my situation, it was houses where they were building but hadn't sold yet. No fences. He didn't even want it at the sidewalk's edge or anything. He just wanted to mow and trim around the building and trim around the house, and you're done. And it was so great. I mean, I was literally just get my mower in the backyard and just run from one yard to the next, just going through there. But some people get so hung up on their minimum, like no, in the video I said, so I told you I don't drop my tailgate for less than $75. Well, I mean, sometimes you just got to use common sense. Like you telling me you wouldn't do these 10 yards all side by side. I mean, just think about the how much that cuts down on your overhead. You don't even have to move your truck. Anyway. So I think common sense has to kick in. I'm just not going to be one, I don't think, that just says my minimum is this and I won't compromise it for nothing. If my next door neighbor has a patch of grass the size of my pickup truck and they want to pay me, $47, and I said my minimum's $50, I'm like, I'm not going to be so stubborn on that I'm not going to take the most profitable yard I probably have. I can just walk over there and spray it in 2 minutes and make $47. I'm all for that. All right. Let's see. Hello, I'm dealing with a dark grassy weed in my dormant Bermuda grass. What would be the best way to deal with this? I'm in North Georgia. Probably POA, just to be honest with you. If I had to guess, look up POA, Annua, P-O-A. That's one word. Second word, A-N-N-U-A. Hard to pronounce, so we just say POA. But it'll take over the yard, and it's a cool season grassy weed. And we use Spectacle Flow in the fall to hopefully keep it out of the yard. But if you have it now, I mean, there's a lot of options. Tribute Total, Celsius, Revolver, Negate. Those all work. I mean, you can even use glyphosate on a dormant Bermuda yard. Now, the problem with that is sometimes it'll delay the green up of the yard. So if you just spray this one section that's got a bunch of POA in it with glyphosate, then in the spring, your yard starts turning green and you got that one spot that's not going to turn green until 2 or 3 weeks after the rest of it turned green. So it looks kind of funny, but you can do that too. Most likely POA. Google an image of that. Get them out. I think he's talking about that crazy guy that was talking about hamburgers. I like hamburgers. I'm looking to start something small on the side, around 10 lawns. Do I have to have an LLC? If I see there's potential and growth, I would absolutely do it the following year. No, you don't have to have an LLC. I mean, again, I'm no attorney. It's not professional legal advice here, but you can be a sole proprietor and just go down to your city hall and get a business license, claim you're a sole proprietor. Now, the problem with that is a sole proprietorship is you are one with the business. So if you get sued, it doesn't protect your personal assets are not separated from your business assets. Where the LLC, it's a separate entity. In theory, it's supposed to help protect your personal assets. Now, hey, who knows what happens in a real situation, but that's the way I understand it. Justin says, hey, Jason, looking to quit my 9-to-5 and start my lawn care business. I'm looking to go full-time in February to prep for March, but I need work in February. What work should I be focused on? It might help, Justin, too, if you tell where you live. Like here, I'm in Alabama in February. Let's see, I'm going to go full-time. You need work in February. If I live where I live in February, I mean, February is a tough month, to be honest with you. But to be honest, there are some nasty yards that don't have any treatments done that the weeds are starting to grow so bad in February, you can actually mow a little bit. So you could try to get those yards that just solid weeds. You can also do a lot of pine straw and mulch would be one thing. I mean, but it's going to be tough because you're not going to. One of the most frustrating things, I remember when I first started my first lawn business, I started in the fall. It was a situation like you. I was like, well, it's fall, but I need workers. What do people do in the fall? They do leaf cleanups. I had a Walker bag and mower. I was like, well, I'm going to do leaf cleanups. I go print off some flyers and passing them out, wanting to do leaf cleanup. I think I got 1 or 2 jobs. One of them was the one I caught the Walker mower on fire. I had so many leaves. The person had so many leaves. The leaves were everywhere. It took forever. The leaves got on the hot muffler. The mower catching on fire. He borrowed my friend's SUV at the time. He had a pack of these like handy wipe things in the back of his truck, like those orange scented things you clean your hands with. I went and got the whole pack of wipes out of there and tried to put the fire out. And I'm panicking that my Walker mower is about to go up in flames. Maybe that was my second year in business instead of first. But regardless, it's so frustrating trying to get work when there's not people looking for a lot of work. And February is going to be tough. Now, March, April, go out there on a Saturday when there's everybody and their brothers out there working in their yard on that warm day in the spring, and you go in those neighborhoods and you have to be a little aggressive and just ask people if they want to quote on their yard. And that's what I do when I'm desperate for business. But once you get established, it's so much easier to get customers. Just understand it's difficult, but you could also be active like in local Facebook groups and stuff. So you can get some friends and family to recommend you in Facebook, and maybe they even let people know that that you're wanting to do in business. Is there anything I can do to work? I'm just trying to get started. Some people might want to help you out. All right, Blaze of Grass, what's going on? Hey, Jason, what's your thoughts on lawn painting? We're so busy in my area that I have a new winter painting crew, and we're also doing the local golf course. I tell you, I've got some green dye, and it's kind of expensive. And boy, it's one of the deals. You put it on in a sprayer, that sprayer's green forever. I don't think you'll ever get that stuff off. But I've never done it. I think it's. I'd be interested to know what kind of market there is in Georgia. And I think it can work. Again, I don't want to turn my whole sprayer green, but I had a situation where I saw a church recently, and whoever did the chemical application, it wasn't me. Let's go ahead and put that out there, but sprayed a little too heavy, let's just say. Something went wrong, and it didn't kill the grass, but it definitely turned it brown. And this was back in the fall when it was supposed to still have some green color. And so they went in there and they painted the whole yard green. And I thought they did a great job of painting it green. Okay, bad job turning the yard brown, great job painting green. Now, it doesn't look 100% natural, but then as the weather started cooling off, the yards, starts turning brown, going dormant, and that church grass is still green because of the paint. But it looked pretty good, and actually now it's fading out. So it probably... I'm going to say it probably lasted 3 months, which is about all you're going to need. I mean, if you paint somebody's yard in December or January and you get through to the spring, at that point, you don't really want it green. You kind of scalp it down and get rid of all that paint. But that stuff's messy. I mean, but I would, keep me up there. I would like to hear if you're able to get that going and what kind of market you found for it. Charge a premium. People that's going to want to paint their yard, I figure they'll pay a premium for it, because that's not something that many people are going to offer. How often do you recommend going up on prices? Well, there's some people, I've theories on this. Some people think you just go up every year, and it's like you want to train your customers that we go up every year. I've never been that person, honestly. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. To me, I would almost, and I haven't been consistent with it, just to be honest with you. I just went up this year about 7% and didn't lose hardly anybody from the price increase. But I would think every 3 years, sounds about right to me. I mean, I personally, if I'm thinking from the customer standpoint, instead of somebody going up on me every year, a couple bucks, I would almost rather them go up, $5 or $6 every 3 years. If it was the same amount of money, we just do it less often. It's just, but I mean, I think there is some truth that we go up every year. if the customers are okay with that. I mean, cost of living goes up just about every year, so inflation and all that's reality. So, but if I was going to do something consistently, it'd probably be every 3 years. All right, let's see. Do my own. He's talking about the website. Do my own, whatever. DoMyOwn.com. It's a place you can go buy chemicals online. Do my own. Quit selling Celsius, and Amazon will not send to my part of Florida and help where to buy it. I have Bermuda in the back, saying I'll see in the front. Celsius would be a great product for you in that situation. I would think. I mean, I don't make sense. I don't know where you're living at, where Amazon won't ship it to you in Florida, unless you got some kind of restrictions. But I mean, I don't know. You see if there's any local stores. Like we have a irrigation. I mean, there's 2 or 3 local places around where I live where you can go buy chemicals, Site One, and all that. I mean, if you're in business, like I buy my stuff from Harold's, but they don't typically sell to homeowners. So, you just have to. You can look online, or you may even have to look on eBay or something. But it's crazy to me that Amazon wouldn't ship Celsius to part of Florida. Do you ever use fast-acting fertilizers? I think I was told urea was what I needed. I'm finding Pennsylvania does not allow the use of it. Well, I mean, there's going to be fertilizers that, to answer your question, yes. I'm actually getting away from fast-acting stuff this year. So, we have a very long growing season in Alabama. So you're going to be a little bit different in Pennsylvania, but still you're going to have a pretty long growing season. But, your grass is going to be just kicking and doing awesome in the spring and probably struggle a little bit in the summer with the heat and then start growing again in the fall. But I mean, I don't. To answer your question, yeah, I was using some fast-acting stuff last year and the year before in the springtime just to get that initial green up to our Bermuda lawns. And then I'd come in with the slow-release stuff to kind of carry it the rest of the year. This year, because I'm changing my program around, I'm using slow-release earlier in the year, like February and early March, really, really too early in a sense. But because it's slow-release, 100% slow-release, it'll actually just sit there in the cold weather. And when the weather starts warming up, it'll start releasing to the grass. So even though I'm putting it out too early, technically, I'm not wasting it because of the chemistry that, they use to make the product. Where if I put out a fast release in February, I'm basically totally wasting it because the nutrients are going to be gone before the grass uses it. So, but yeah, I mean, you can get quick release for, urea. It depends on what you're doing. I mean, you got to be a little bit more careful if you're putting out too much quick release fertilizer as far as burning grass, and then understand how long it'll last. Because what happens, you think about the illustration, like drinking water from a fire hydrant. If you're putting out all this nitrogen on the lawn and all these nutrients, but the grass can only use so much. And so how much of it is the grass benefit? Will it make it green? Sure. But how much of it are you wasting, and how long are you getting it to last? Only lasting for a short period of time, where a slow release is going to kind of feed it at a rate where you're not wasting as much, where the grass can actually use it, drinking out of a water hose versus a fire hydrant. And I prefer to drink out of the faucet at home, or filtered water out of my refrigerator. But anyway, you get the point. You're wasting a lot of nutrients a lot of times with the quick release stuff, and it's not going to last as long. Do you know of any other methods to get fast green up? Well, I do for our grasses in the South. I don't, Pennsylvania, I don't know. The guys with the cool season grass tell me it's green all the time. I've got ryegrass in my backyard right now that I oversee, and it's so green. It's crazy green. Our Bermuda yards, we scalp them, and you scalp them early in the year. And usually the people who cut it early in the year, you let the sun get down there to the roots, start warming the soil, and they're going to be greener faster, regardless of whether or not they put fertilizer on it or not. It has more to do with the sunlight. So, but I'm not really sure. Maybe somebody can chime in here as far as cool season grasses. Greenville, South Carolina, on Justin. Forget what he asked a while ago. Hold on. Justin said, he's wanting to quit his job and go full time. So Greenville, South Carolina, you're going to be similar to us. I mean, like I said, you're going to have to, you might can find people want mulch and pine straw and pruning crepe myrtles and stuff like that in February, but it's still going to be a little bit tough on you probably. But March, April, May, usually prime months for picking up customers. Jason, I have a lawn care company. I'm steadily growing and needing help. What's the starting rate to start somebody to help you? Hold on. I just got a little cough here. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's a starting rate. I mean, I would think today, if I'm doing weed control and fertilization, I'm probably not going to pay anybody less than $15 an hour because I don't think I can get anybody good for that. Now, and I would think a lot of country, a lot of states now I think are going to $15 an hour minimum wage. So my thought on this, without giving you a dollar figure other than $15, I mean, you might can find somebody cheaper than that. But I think to me, the situation is try to make your company as profitable as possible to where you can afford to pay somebody $1 or $2 more. Because you say, well, I'm going to pay 12. It's hard for me to imagine you can get anybody any good for $12 an hour. Okay. So sometimes the lawn businesses, their companies are struggling so bad that they can't afford to pay any more than 12. And so they pay 12 and they get somebody sorry and then they, they might as well just go back to working solo because it's not worth it. So you have to generate a good profit for your business to be able to afford to bring somebody on without it crippling your business. Because all I said, it happens all the time where people bring somebody on and end up making less money than they were making solo because, they're just not efficient. So I think, again, going back to your route density and just being super efficient, super profitable and making your pricing right so that you can pay somebody $15, dollars an hour. And I don't think that's a lot, but I would think you could probably get somebody for that. But again, $15 an hour is going to hurt a lot of companies if they're, how many yards are you doing in an hour? If it's just you and one other person and y'all spending all this time driving around, well, that $15 an hour is going to really set you back. But if you got $15 an hour and you've got all these yards stacked in the same neighborhood, now you're getting your money's worth out of the person that's working with you. Just my thoughts. Any recommendations for good books that would be useful to read? Somebody wanting to get into lawn care. As far as business books go, and I don't live all this out, I love the E-Myth book. There's E-Myth. E-Myth Revisited is the one I really like. There is an E-Myth for landscape contractors. It's pretty good. I really like that. I've got Paul Jameson's a friend of mine. He's got a couple of books out. I've got both of those. There's some real practical advice in there, plus just hearing stories and, his mistakes and things like that. I like to listen to it on Audible, the audio version of Cut That Grass and Make That Cash is his first one. It was great. So I'm trying to think. Mike McAllowitz is a real practical business guy. He'll give you business. It's not necessarily for lawn care, but you might check out some of his books as well. Anybody have some other recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comments. Excuse me. All right. Is your February pre-emergent treatment the same as what you do in the fall? Do you recommend split treatments for pre-emergent? First question is, what I do in February the same as what I do in fall? The answer is no. In the fall, I'm doing spectacle flow in the fall, and it is mostly because it works great on POA. But in the spring or in January, February, this time of year, I'm using Prodiamine. It's significantly cheaper for one, but it's also extremely effective on crabgrass. So let's say in the fall, if my main target weed is POA. Well, Prodiamine is not that great on POA. The spectacle's great on it. But if my main target weed in the spring or early in the year, January, February, is crabgrass, then Prodiamine is awesome on crabgrass and for a lot lesser price. So I'm using that. In the fall, I put 2,4-D in there. In the early year, I use triplet, which has 2,4-D in it. You could use 2,4. You could flip them or use the same thing. I don't know that you'd see a whole lot of noticeable difference. I'm using Simazine in the fall, and I'm using Atrazine in the early in the year, like now through round one. So those are some of the differences. But I am actually going to start using Spectacle Flow in May of this year as well. And that's because I'm going after doveweed and kalinga and chamber bitter, these weeds that killed me last summer because we had a super rainy year last year. Omega Lawn Care, do you think sending EDDM at the end of January is good, or when would be the best time in your opinion? Well, I had a bad experience with every door direct mail is what he's referring to. And to me, it was expensive, and what the marketing people would say, you got to do it over and over and over again. I said, well, I don't know if I can afford to do it over and over again. I spent like $3,600, sent out 10,000 of them, and maybe got 15 customers. Well, that's not good enough for me for $3,600. I'm paying over $200 a customer. So I mean, I'm trying to build relationships with the mowing guys, so they'll send me the referrals. I'm trying to get my website, ranked well on Google locally, so I can get leads from that. So I did. That was my one time with Every Door Direct Mail. Now, so do I think end of January? I mean, in this area, unfortunately, I think most people choose a lawn care company or kind of spur of the moment decision. So in my opinion, it would probably be a little bit too early. You'd like to think. I wish all my new customers would call me in January where I could go ahead and spray them and get them on the schedule for the whole year. Unfortunately, they call me in March and April and May. So I don't know. If I was here in Alabama, I would probably still wait till February just because I think people are not thinking about their lawns in January. Maybe the strategy is get ahead of all the other people who are going to be sending them out in March. So if you do it early January, there may be some truth to that, but I'd be prepared to have a big budget to make the Every Door Direct Mail work. I don't doubt that it works. I know it. These things work because my competitors do them all the time, but they send multiple rounds out each year, and I know they're spending a fortune. I guess they're picking up plenty of customers for it. But again, me trying to stay small, that's not something I'm spending much money on. All right, great answer, Jason. Thanks so much. He's the one that's starting a business in South Carolina and wanting to know what he can do in February. All right. Cedric's asking Blades of Grassy, you think about coming to the expo next year? I was hoping to see you this year. So you can respond to that if you want to. What company do you buy your weed and fertilizer from? I'm looking to get into doing weed control and fertilizer this year, but I'm mostly familiar with Conklin Lawn products. I buy from Harrell's, Harrells, and they ship it right to my door. They blend their own fertilizers and ship them to me. They sell, just about all the chemicals I buy from Harrell's. So they're not a storefront. You have a sales rep that you'll work with, and they ship it right to you. He said he's in PA. You'd have to go to the Harrell's website, and there's a contact form or something you can get in touch with whoever your rep is in the Pennsylvania area. If you have trouble, you can get in touch with me. I might be able to help you out with that as well. What's your favorite fertilizer analysis that you use through the year? Well, what I'm doing this year is I mixed up some things. So in the past, I was using like a quick release we're dealing mostly Bermuda zoysia lawns. I was using a 20-3-5 quick release fertilizer in the spring just to get things going, get it green, and buy me some time until I can come back and put out the slow release stuff. And then I'd come in with a 3806 slow release fertilizer, mostly slow release. Well, this year, again, the main reason I've changed because I'm trying to put out Spectacle in May. And that's the target time here for controlling doveweed. And I'm trying to get the doveweed as a nightmare weed. It's just awful if you don't have it. It's growing in our area. As you see, I saw a lot more last year than I did year 4. And I'm thinking I want to start using Spectacle regular in May to help head off the doveweed. All right. So we call that. May is a great time to fertilize. So it kind of messed up my fertilizer schedule. So now I'm using I think it's a 3808 blend, 100% polyon in a slow release stuff, polymer coated slow release fertilizer in, again, late February on into March, which is a little bit early, but that'll feed the lawn. Whenever it starts getting warm, that'll release to the grass, start turning grass green, and then come back with another 100% polyon product. I think it's almost like a 3807 or something like that. Come back with that after I do the Spectacle in May and early June. Then I can start in June into July with this another round of 100% polyion. So I'm kind of just going to slow release. It's a little more expensive, but I needed something to allow me to put the spectacle out in May, and that was the only main way I could figure out how to do it. All right. Blazer Grass tells Cedric, yes, he is planning on being there. Now, they're changing the name of the GIE Plus Expo. I think they're calling it the Equip Expo. I've heard it might be split up, might be doing some different things in different areas, but I think the Equip Expo is going to be the name for what's in Louisville, Kentucky. And Blazer Grass is planning to be there, so that's great. I hope I will be too. Hunter says he sells Celsius at his store. Long drive to South Carolina. There was a guy earlier in Florida who can't get Celsius. So if you're ever in South Carolina, you can buy you like a 10-pack of Celsius, and they can keep you for the rest of your life. Thanks, Jason. Love your channel. Appreciate that. Our store sells everything, landscape supply. I wonder why humic doesn't fly off my shelf. What are your thoughts on humic? I'm assuming that's like a humic acid product. I'm not, and correct me if I'm talking about something different. Humic acid, like I'm certainly no expert on this kind of stuff. My understanding on these, what you call like micronutrients, you get your macronutrients and your micronutrients. That the micronutrients are doing things in the soil, which, to be honest, I don't understand and probably don't want to understand, but can help the plant health and all that, and be able to use some of the macronutrients. So I think the lime product we use in the winter has humic acid mixed in there with the lime. So I've only heard good things about humic acid, but if I'm not going to pretend that I understand it. Pop question mark. Pop question mark again. Love that. Not sure what that means. All right. Read David Tucker, Peace Work. Somebody was asking earlier about book recommendations, and Gene Wickman, Traction. So there's a couple of book recommendations. Appreciate that, Justin. What is the most effective chemical to put down next month for stickers? I-20 in Louisiana. Unfortunately, you may have needed to hit those in the fall. Like I had a lady that we get what's called lawn burrweed. And now you may have some different stickers in your yard. With lawn burrweed, it looks like little parsley or something, and cool season weed. And so I told this lady she wanted to know how to keep them out of her backyard, and I do her front yard. I said, well, we'll do the fall application. That's probably the most effective one. So putting your pre-emergent out in the fall is probably the best option. But, if you get them, you could go in there with a product like Change Up or something, and hopefully if you kill them early enough, there's probably a lot of products that could kill it, but the key is getting them early enough. Like if you've got the burrweed, if you wait till it's got the burrs in it and then you kill it, it's a dead plant with the burrs in it, and they're still going to get in your feet. So you got to kill it before it produces the burrs. So I'd say sooner than better. Read any Dan Kennedy book and get your hands on. Man, that's great for me, Justin. I'm looking for new audio books. I may take you up on some of those. Hey, Jason, with experience both weed control and also mowing and landscaping, which field would you recommend a new business starting out in? All right, yeah. So I had started out a mowing business, and now I'm a weed control business. To me, it has a lot to do with personality. Like if you feel confident you can get a lot of customers and you're not worried about the marketing side of it, I like the weed control. But like I said, I don't mind the chemicals. I don't mind getting 300-400 customers to fill up your schedule. Some people just be real intimidated by that. And the idea of getting 50 customers is intimidating. So if you're concerned with being able to market and get customers, then mowing is going to be a lot faster. You can get by with a lot less customers. But I think to me the profits are better in the weed control. But either way, there's some similarities. If you just want something to get up and going, then just get a lawnmower and start mowing. Okay. But a lot of people do very mediocre at that, and they get stuck and they never can get past that. I think there's more growth opportunity in the weed control. It's a little bit more scalable, in my opinion, because you can have one person in a truck who's going out there generating $1,000 every day consistently. at least that's not a promise of income. I should say that, I guess. But you can make a lot more money per man, so you can hire somebody and scale if you want to. Mowing, to me, you really got to go after the high-end stuff if you're looking to scale it, because it's hard just going out there mowing people's yards for $50. Hard to make any real money scale it, but it's a lot faster to get that up and going. All right, I was late getting the fall seeding on my lawn done. I still had a lot of baby grass by in the fall. What are the chances that the rest of my seeds will come in the spring? So I'm assuming you've overseeded cool season grass. I don't know the answer to that. Somebody want to chime in. If he put his seeds out in the fall and he was late and some of them didn't germinate, do you think those seeds will hang around and start growing in the spring? My gut feeling is that some of them would, and I know grass seed is gone up significantly, but it might not hurt just to go get a little bit more grass seed and when the weather starts warming up, throw some more out and not rely on what you put out in the fall. But, that's just my thoughts. Lebanon is based out of PA and could get a hold of some good contacts for you. Somebody was asking about who do I buy products from. He's in Pennsylvania, so there's another recommendation. I love to offer lawn painting for people. Only the really high-end customers will go for it, though. Yeah, Blazer Grass was talking about lawn painting earlier. Is that J-Man, is that very profitable and easy to do? And what kind of equipment do you use to go out there and paint a yard? I'm kind of interested in that. I don't think I want to do it, but I'm just curious about it. Hey, Jason, and everyone, Happy New Year. Have you used a 3-way pre-emergent? I heard of Coastal, but Coastal is it's basically, so I just mix products together. So Coastal is, I forget, prodiamine mixed with simazine or something like that. Well, you could just mix them. You don't have to, you can buy Coastal if you want, or you can just buy those products and mix them yourself. So yeah, we mix pre and post emergence together all the time. That's very common. But sometimes you can buy, like for instance, Blindside. I use Blindside all the time. Well, Blindside is sulfitrazone, which is dismissed, plus metsulfuron. Well, you can mix sulfitrazone and metsulfuron together yourself, or you can buy Blindside. So how you want to do it. So sometimes you can read the label and figure out what the ingredients are, and you can make it yourself. All right, Sebastian says, hey, Jason from New Zealand. I've actually been to New Zealand, Sebastian, believe it or not. I've been to Christchurch and I can't remember, Auckland, I guess. And then we went way south and I saw penguins and sea lion. It was one of the coldest days I've ever been in my life on a sheep farm in New Zealand. If you don't know anything about New Zealand, they got more sheep than they do people, I'm pretty sure. And it was so cold down there. We're out there on this sheep farm, and I step off in a mud hole or something. My boot came off, and my foot got wet. And I like to have froze to death in that place. But it's so beautiful in New Zealand. One of the coolest places that you'll ever get a chance to visit. Your recent lawn care stereotypes was hilarious. Glad you enjoyed that. Difference between simazine and atrazine. Also, the breast pre-emergent tank mix for those two products. Somebody asked this last time, and I don't know if I know the difference. I know they're similar, and one works faster than the other, but I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry. I use atrazine in the first part of the year, like now, and I'm using simazine in the fall. So, but you can mix. I don't know that it matters. Like I'm using prodiamine now with atrazine, but I've used prodiamine in the fall with simazine. I'm using Spectacle in the fall with simazine, but I don't think it would matter if you use simazine Spectacle now with atrazine. I would imagine would be, you can check the label, but I don't think there would be any problem with that either. We're almost out of time. We'll fly through these tall fescues, what I overseeded with. He's hoping his fescue will grow when he put out in the fall. Sorry, my fingers were not working. What I meant to say was I'm new getting weak, so I heard of Coastal. It's a 3-way pre-emergent. Just curious here. No, I haven't used it, but I am familiar with it. And again, they're just mixing products that you can mix yourself, or you can buy Coastal. But I'm using Spectacle instead of Coastal. Thanks for your insight. I'd like to know, what billing method are you still billing by the man hour on turf painting? the guy that was doing turf painting, do you just give them a price for turf painting, or do you bill them for your time, or how do you do it? Hey, Jason, just got here, going to be starting a weed control fertilization business this spring. What do you think is the best way to get your first customers? I'd go ahead and make a website. I'd go ahead and get on social media, Facebook, try to get active Facebook group. I'd tell your family and friends, and then it's going to be a little hard. I'd start calling on the mowing guys and saying, will you guys send me your weed control and fertilization business? Those are the things I've done. I would get out there on Saturdays when the weather's hot and try to get people that are out in the yard, see if they give you a quote. If they've got, you can tell early in the year who's spraying their yard, who's not. At least down here, if they're full of weeds, you go knock on their door if that's legal in your area. Say, hey, can I give you a quick quote on your yard? You can tell the ones that, obviously don't have any weeds that are already having it treated. Happy New Year. Wilbert is the one with the big chicken on his picture. I always love to see. I just got 12 new chickens at my house. I've got 17 now. I'm getting like 3 eggs a day because it's so cold. I'm so mad at them chickens not laying more eggs. Happy New Year. What about mixing insecticide along with herbicide? Can it be mixed together? Yes, it can. You can. Check the label on mixing stuff. But, yeah, you can mix a lot of stuff. But you can't mix everything. So, but I think the label will tell you most of the time. All right, we made it 1 hour and 54 seconds. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're starting in business, want resources, go lawncarelife.com. Got video courses, all that kind of stuff. And appreciate you guys. Appreciate the conversation. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this more consistently as the weather begins warming up. But we had a good time today. And if you're looking for help, lawncarelife.com, going to software, yardbook.com. They are great, and they are a sponsor of the channel. All right, one more here. I'm getting late, so if this was asked, my apologies. First half of the year, do you typically run post-emergent, just pre? I'm doing, from our Bermuda zoysias, I'm doing prodiamine, triplet, atrazine, and surfactant. And then for the what am I saying? Centipede, St. Augustine. Sorry, I'm distracted. Centipede, St. Augustine. I'm doing a lower rate of prodiamine and just atrazine with and surfactant. So, all right. Thanks, Jason. Happy holidays. Talk to you guys later. I'm out.